Hey everyone, long time no talk. I think my last video said it was 2 years ago. I don't know if that's right. It might only be a year, but regardless, it has been a long time. And I guess first I'll just kind of follow up on that video and like say what has happened since then. So in that video, I talked about doing an IOP. I have done 2 more IOPs since then, another virtual one, and one being in person. Both of those IOPs focused on DBT as a primary therapy. And that's another thing that I kind of want to talk about is, so on this channel, I've always talked about schizoaffective disorder, but I kind of want to change gears now and talk more about borderline personality disorder, along with like bipolar as well. My diagnosis just seems to have like, I don't know, like schizoaffective is kind of like taken, well, the schizophrenia part of schizoaffective has kind of taken a backseat because I feel like that's been treated. I haven't really had much voices or delusions, or I have had some like paranoia episodes. But as far as like the voices and things, that really hasn't been a problem for me for quite some time. And I feel like the BPD, the borderline personality disorder, is really what's been limiting my functioning and like holding me back from things and just creating obstacles that make it hard to just live a fulfilling life. But anyways, let me just, I wrote a few things down that I just wanted to make sure that I cover. So, yeah, I did 2 IOPs since then. The schizoaffective study that I talked about, or I guess it was more so a schizophrenia or schizoaffective study that I did, however long ago. So that study ended up being just kind of like crap. Me and the therapist would talk about like what good shows are on Netflix right now. Um, so yeah, it was not any kind of like good therapy. It was just kind of like, hey, how's your week? What you been doing? What have you been watching? Just like how I don't understand what kind of data they're collecting by asking people what they're watching on Netflix, like in regards to a schizophrenia study, right? So that was dumb. I ended up dropping out of that after a few months. At least I got paid for my time though, so it wasn't a total loss. I did mention how I was going over a DBT workbook with a friend. That friend cut me out for reasons unknown, so not doing that with them anymore. Also, I did ketamine therapy this past summer. So I did esketamine, or the name brand Spravato, where it's the nasal spray. And I did 8 sessions of it, and it made me severely suicidal. So yeah, that did not work at all. It it started making me like deeply depressed maybe like the 6th session in, and it was just, I don't know, I would do it in the morning and then I would be dead just like the rest of the day. It just kind of like zombified me, and like I was just doing more and more thinking that, oh well, once I get up to like however many like sessions, then I'll see an effect and then I'll see that my like depression is um getting better. And that just didn't happen. The exact opposite happened. So it's actually kind of funny because the clinic wanted me to like keep going, like, oh, just go through, pull yourself together, go through with it, you'll be fine. And I'm like, no, I am like considering ending my life because of this. Like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So I stopped that after 8 sessions, and that was that. Do not recommend. Help some people. I don't know anyone personally who it's helped, because it's still not like widely done, I don't think. Like my insurance did cover it, but I know it hasn't been out for super long, like less than 5 years, I think, I want to say. So yeah, I don't know. That was just my experience with it. And as far as therapy goes, so I actually had two therapists for a while. I'm actually going to be firing one of them. So the one that I'm going to be firing claims that she does internal family systems therapy. And if you don't know what that is, give it a Google. It's a whole modality of therapy. And she said she did it, but she simply does not do it. She does like meditations with me for like a minute. She'll be like, okay, I want you to sit and meditate for 1 minute and then tell me, what sensations do you notice in your body? And I'm like, well, I feel kind of tense. Like, obviously, like right now, I'm kind of like hunching my shoulders over and I'm like tense. Like, I should work on my posture. I should probably change that because I know that's not good. And she's like, oh, no, just notice it. And that's all it was doing these little meditations and being like, how did that make you feel? And it was just, this is an IFS. Like, I don't have a clear idea on what IFS is because I never did it, but I was excited to try it. And then this just turned out to not be IFS at all. So I need to cancel the appointments that I have on the books with her because it's just not helpful. My other therapist I was doing EMDR with, and that was, again, like, the therapist is not really truly trained in EMDR, I don't think. The way that I have been doing EMDR with her is she starts the timer at 1 minute, and then for 1 minute, think about my traumatic experience. And then once a minute is up, tell her what kind of thoughts I have about it. And I'm like, oh, well, it feels really bad. One time I just started like crying because of it. Other times I'm kind of like, all right, I guess I've kind of processed it. I don't know, but I just wasn't getting anything out of it, you know? Like, if you guys have done EMDR yourself, please leave a comment and tell me your experience. Like, what does an EMDR session look like for you? Because I had EMDR like many years ago, and it was also like incorrect EMDR. Instead of focusing on the traumatic memory, she would just have me like meditate something pleasant, and she called it EMDR because she had the little like vibrating like kind of like controller things that like vibrate like back and forth in each hand. She used that way back when, and then this current therapist also used that. She did try she had like the eye tracking thing where like the balls like move back and forth on her laptop, but I said I preferred the like little controller joystick kind of like things, I don't know what else to call them. But yeah, so she's just gonna be my primary therapist, I guess, but that honestly doesn't matter because we're moving again. We always move. So what we ended up doing was, and I guess I probably talked about this in my videos. I mean, you've seen this like backdrop for a few years now. We bought a house in the suburbs and realized pretty quickly that suburban living was not for us. We need to be back in a city with the amenities, with the city lifestyles that go in an urban area. And we just didn't have any of that here. And it wasn't helping our mental health at all. It was like damaging it greatly. And we're just so isolated too. I have one friend in this current city, and they're actually a pretty great friend. I lucked out meeting them. I met them on Bundle BFF. So if you guys are looking for friends, it's like a dating app for friends, basically. It's just like, you've heard of like Bumble. Well, this is called Bumble BFF. So it's on there to like make friend dates, basically, which is kind of a weird idea, but I don't know. It worked. It worked for me. I'll probably use it again when we move because I'll be pretty much starting over with like making friends again. And yeah, so one thing that I did find that has been kind of helpful is there's a BPD specific support group. It's this organization called Emotions Matter, and they have weekly groups like at 7 p.m., 6 p.m., whatever time zone you're in, that you can join. And it's just like a little like support group. Oftentimes there's a topic, like the topic could be trust or communication. And I don't know, it's a group of like maybe like 12 people, maybe 10 to 12. And you share if you want, you don't share if you don't want to. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to have your camera on. You can leave your camera off the whole time. You can use your voice, or you can literally just type in the chat to them. So there's no like pressure to like be active talking on camera, which I think is pretty cool of them. So yeah, I've been doing that. I've done that like 4 or 5 of those groups maybe. And I actually, so they have like announcements at the end of the group saying just certain things that the organization is doing. And one thing they said was we're hiring new facilitators. So each group has 2 facilitators who lead the thing, and they're like, it's a volunteer role, but they're kind of like peer support specialists, sort of, except they're not getting paid. But basically, that's like the kind of role that it is. Like, you're a peer, you're a person with BPD, and you're facilitating a support group with other people who have BPD. And I applied to be a facilitator, and I haven't heard back from them. It's been like, I think it's been like 2 weeks now, so I don't know if I ever will. And honestly, I don't know if I'm the best fit to be a facilitator anyways, because my mental health is not like or my illness is not like in remission. Like, I'm still struggling every day. So I don't know. It was something to try, but if I can't be a facilitator, then that's fine. I'll just continue going to the group. So yeah, it's called Emotions Matter, and I'll put a link to them if you want to check them out. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of my little update, what's kind of been going on the past few months and months and months. Sorry for not updating you guys sooner. Someone did reach out to me on the community tab a while ago and asked about me making a video, and I can't remember what the topic was. So if that was you, I'm sorry. I need to go back and review what that specifically was about. But like I said, I would just kind of like to shift focus here. I would like to start making videos a little bit more often, like more than once a year. But I can't guarantee how often it's going to be, but I would like to shift the focus from schizoaffective, bipolar type, more to like bipolar and like BPD, because schizophrenia just hasn't been the forefront of my problems like within the past few years. So also, I don't know if I didn't know this myself, but psychosis does present in BPD as well. So just like just like psychosis presents in like bipolar, psychosis can also present in BPD. So I wonder if my psychosis was just not a feature of borderline or bipolar, possibly. So I don't know. When I get a new psychiatrist at the new, once we move, then I'm gonna try and like just talk to them and like, I don't know, just kind of like get their opinion. I mean, I know what I'm struggling with. Like, I know the symptoms that I struggle with, and it just so happens that like, wow, like I am really struggling with BPD. Like, that's what I'm facing with. And schizophrenia, just like, maybe it was episodic, maybe it wasn't, like, because schizoaffective disorder is supposed to be you experience psychosis all the time, not just in episodes. That's what makes it different from like bipolar with psychotic features or BPD with psychotic features. Is like you have these psychotic symptoms all the time. And that's what I told the doctor who originally diagnosed me, because I thought I was having it all the time, regardless of like if I was like in a manic or depressive episode or anything. And I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I don't know. a good reason why I haven't been posting on here is because like I have been struggling with like my diagnosis, like identity, whatever you want to call it. Um yeah, I don't know. I just want to talk about BPD now, because I feel like that's what's affecting my life and myself, my brain the most, and that's just I'd like to get an audience of people who have BPD and can relate to the things that I say. Favorite persons in BPD is a huge topic that I want to make a video about. This Emotions Matter, actually, one of their like PhD researchers did a study on favorite persons in BPD, and it was a really interesting webinar. And I would like to share some of that information that I got from there with you guys. And yeah, let's just talk about BPD a little bit more. Why not? I mean, it's still mental health, overlapping symptoms of like basically everything else. You know, all of mental illness, like, it's just symptoms that we put labels on, but so many of the symptoms overlap to different labels and like vice versa. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's really the symptoms that matter and not the diagnosis itself. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel, I guess. But I'm rambling. That's all I had to say for now. And thank you guys so much if you are watching this video. If I like came up on your notifications and you're like, oh, it's Emilia Lecter, I haven't seen her in forever. Thank you so much for clicking on this. Like, I truly appreciate it. And I just hope that people actually see this and didn't think that I was like gone forever. But anyway, thank you guys for supporting me as always, and I will see you next time. Bye.